8:55 now. We've been following breaking news in the 13 newsroom as a plane went off the runway at Yeager Airport earlier this morning. 2 people are dead now as a result of that crash landing, and our Chelsea Spears is live on the scene right now.
She joins us with the latest breaking developments. Chelsea?
Jack, airport officials just came up to us to talk to us and share some more information. They do confirm that the 2 people who died in this crash were the pilot and the co-pilot. Now, right now, their names are not being released, but we are told they were the only 2 people on board this short 330 at the time of the accident. I want to show you what's happening right now. If we zoom in, we're on top of a Yeager Airport garage right now, but here we still have an active scene. We are told that crews here are trying to reach people on board the plane. It was very difficult because this plane went into a very wooded area, so it was difficult to reach them, but they were finally able to get that. Now, right now, the plane is still on the hillside. Most of the wreckage also on the hillside, not on this runway right now. We are told the plane is going to stay there, actually, because the National Transportation Safety Board is on their way out here. They're going to be turning this project, this case here, from a recovery phase into an investigation. Now they're going to be trying to figure out what caused this plane crash right around 7 this morning. We are told the plane was landing at Yeager Airport here. They were coming from Louisville. Now, we are told that this was an air cargo carrier. We are being told that it was not a mountain air cargo. Now it is an air cargo carrier. That is the plane that crashed here a little earlier this morning, killing a pilot and a co-pilot. Now, right now, again, no names being released, no cause at this time, but the airport still remains closed. We're told they're going to try and reopen the airport and get this back open as soon as possible, with no word on just how long that will take. Jack and Brian?
Thank you, Chelsea. Now, Brian, you can tell us more about the route that plane was taking this morning, heading to Charleston.
Yes, it was coming out of Louisville, contracted to UPS, and here's the path that we're looking at from Louisville. This is the actual landing area where it made the hard landing. It was an air cargo carriers. Earlier we reported Mountain Air. That is incorrect. It is air cargo carriers, as being confirmed now by the folks at Yeager Airport. It was approaching on runway 5, so it was coming in essentially over downtown Charleston and then attempting to make the landing there. It was a hard one and then went off the runway to the left. What we see left on the runway area, just off to the left, is a wing and also a wheel. Now, let me show you the path. It came out of Louisville, and this is a look at the radar data, the current radar data, as well as the flight path. It goes from Louisville, makes its way to essentially Lexington, and then follows just south of I-64 through eastern Kentucky and then into West Virginia. Now, this was the path that was scheduled, and this airplane, this crew, they usually make this trip every night, and they return every morning. Now, this is a view from across the airport. So where Chelsea's at, she's on top of the parking garage, but we are across I-77 and the Elk River. Right,
so you're looking back towards the airport from across I-77 on this shot.
Yes, that is correct, and you can see the crime scene tape, or essentially the area that's been marked off. And everything that we know, and I know from people who are down below and people who are up above, and what we heard was they were having to access essentially this by four-wheelers, they're ATVs to get here.
Well, you can see, Chelsea mentioned that it's in a very wooded area, and you can't see the wreckage because of all of the trees right now from either angle that we have a shot from. And we're going to go back over to Chelsea now at the airport for the latest on what she has. Chelsea?
Well, yeah, Jack, it is difficult to see that plane because it's obviously over this runway from where we're standing. But even if you were on the other side, it's in that wooded area. But we are able to see a part of the wing, at least a little earlier this morning, and also a wheel that had landed on the runway after this crash. We're told that plane coming in from Louisville hit the ground hard. That wing hit the runway before it went over the hillside and off the runway. Again, that was an air cargo carrier. The pilot and co-pilot confirmed dead to us this morning. Right now, no names are being released. We're not even told where they're from at this point, but the NTSB is investigating what caused this crash a little earlier here this morning, and we are told that the airport is working to get these runways back open and the airport back open to the public as soon as possible. Jack and Brian?
All right, thanks, Chelsea. Now we're going to have a complete wrap-up on everything coming up on 13 News at noon, but for those of you who would like to follow us right now, you can go over to Facebook.
Yes, we're going to do a Facebook Live, and that starts here in just the next few seconds.
Hey everyone, Chelsea Spears here, coming to you live from the scene of a breaking news update for you guys. We had a plane at Yeager Airport that went off the runway and over a hillside at Yeager Airport. We are dealing with a very active scene this morning, so I'm going to show you what's going on here. Shortly before 7 this morning, crews here on scene tell me that a cargo plane, a box-style plane, went off the runway here at Yeager Airport and over the hillside. Now, they are telling me that was a cargo-style plane, a box-style plane. We are under a level 3 emergency right now, with all assets responding, trying to get everything here figured out and try to help this situation now. We are told there's believed to be about 4 people on board this plane at the time of the accident. Originally, what a level 3 emergency means is that it's an accident involving an aircraft with 15 to 30 people on board, but crews do not believe that many people were on board this plane. They say they believe about 4 people on board this plane when it went off the runway and over the hillside here at Yeager Airport. No word right now on the extent of injuries. We are working to get that information. We've been talking with crews all morning. Charleston police are here, Kanawha County sheriff's deputies, state police. All assets are responding to this this crash, we're told. Again, this happening around 7 this morning. I'm seeing a lot of people saying prayers right now. We do not know the extent of injuries right now, but we are told that the people on board this plane were likely all a part of a flight crew. As for now, the airport, Yeager Airport, is closed. All air traffic is being diverted. You can see a very active scene. All air traffic is being diverted right now. I'm told just beyond here there's 4 ambulances on scene. This is as close up as we are allowed to get right now because of the nature of what's going on. I'm located right now on Keystone. This is close to where we had that rock slide several years ago. Again, we are under a level 3 emergency right now. No word on what caused this plane to go off the runway and over the hillside. Again, all near where that rock slide happened just a few years ago here in the Charleston area at the airport. People on board were told right around 4. That number, not a definitive number at this time, but believed to be around 4 people on board this plane when it went off the runway at Yeager Airport and over the hillside. No word yet on what caused this incident. I'm asking Matthew what type of plane. It was a cargo plane or a box-style plane. All the people who are on board are believed to be a part of a flight crew here in the Charleston area. You can see a very, very active scene right now. Again, there are some road closures. Jack, Kane, and Brian Hughes have those road closures for you on 13 News this morning. We're going to be going live here through at least 9 this morning, letting you guys know what's happening. And you know what? As I'm talking, I'm going to call my newsroom and get some more information for you guys, because that's coming into the newsroom right now. So hang with me, guys. For those of you just now joining us, we're getting some more information here now. Hang with us. Charleston Police, State Police, the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office, all on scene here responding to this plane crash. This is as close as we are allowed to get right now. Hey, this is Chelsea. Hey, I'm doing a Facebook Live on my phone, so I haven't been able to get your text. What were you sending? Okay. 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 All right, thank you so much. Okay. And what roads are closed right now? I'm actually doing a Facebook Live, so I can let them know right now. Barlow Airport Road, everyone, is closed right now as a result of this incident. Also Keystone, which is where I am right now, blocked off by Charleston Police. And they also say you should expect delays on Greenbrier Street. So Barlow closed, Keystone closed. Sure, and Kanawha County Commission President Kent Carper also releasing some more information, addressing and letting everybody know that we are under a level 3 emergency right now. You can see an ambulance right now coming down Keystone Drive here. We are told there are several ambulances up on the runway. This is a United States Air Force car, actually. It looked like an ambulance. This is the United States Air Force vehicle. But we are told there are several ambulances up at the runway right now where they are staging a command center. Okay, thank you, Veronica. Thanks. Okay, wait. Okay, so for those of you guys just now joining us, I was getting some more information from our newsroom about road closures. Those of you just now joining us, there is a cargo-style plane that went off the runway and over the hillside here at Yeager Airport. About 4 people were believed to be on board at the time. Right now, that's not a definitive number. That's just what is believed to be on board this plane at the time of the accident. They were all believed to be flight crews of some sort. Right now, no word on the extent.
Aware of, we had a aircraft accident here approximately 7 a.m. this morning that involved a cargo plane that apparently hit the runway, and then the wing sheared off, and then it ended up over the hill here at the airport. We're attempting to, in fact, the people in the plane have been recovered at this time and are being transported to the medical examiner's office, and our police are following up on that aspect of it. We're still waiting on FSDO to examine the debris field on the runway in order to further their investigation, and then once that's completed, we plan to make repairs to the runway and open the airport here, hopefully within the next couple of hours. That's our plans for right now.
I know you were.
What was done to the airport runway?
There was a few gouges. It appeared that the plane landed a little awkwardly and caused some damage to the runway.
I know you were saying that, the National Transportation Safety Board is investigating and you can't, say what caused this, but can you talk to us about some of the observations you made surrounding this incident?
Yeah, the winds were calm, about 10 miles visibility. From looking at it, it looks like it may have landed a little sideways instead of level on the runway as it should have.
Terry, was there a fire?
Not at this time, no. Not that we're aware of. There's no fire. We have a diesel or the fuel leak, and that's being contained, and we made the proper notifications to the water company in case there had been an issue. But as of right now, there's been no issue with the fuel.
How often do these planes come in here? Is that daily or a few times a week?
I think 2 or 3 times a week from Louisville.
And you've been able to, I think, determine that the pilot and the co-pilot are from West Virginia?
They're based here locally out of Yeager Airport. They're badged here, and we'll wait till the family's been notified before the names could be released.
They are based out of here, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have any idea how long they've been, how much experience they have?
Not at this time, I do not.
Commission President Carper, you heard some observations too. Can you add to anything what Terry said?
Yes, well, when you have something like this, you understand the federal government does the actual investigation. But we've observed the airplane landing, we've observed the condition of the field, and it is obvious that this aircraft hit what they call the threshold of the landing area. So it wasn't a fault of the runway, it wasn't the fault of the weather, and it doesn't appear to be anything other than some type of a problem with the aircraft. There is an unconfirmed report from a person in Yawkey, West Virginia, that she heard an aircraft making a very loud noise. She's called that in, but when you look at the runway, when you look at the gouge marks, we know what the weather was, but it will be up to the FAA. It's a tragedy, but I want to commend the first responders, the program. We declared a state of emergency at about 1 minute after the airplane crashed. There was an amazing response from the city of Charleston, Kanawha County, the Air Guard, the Army Guard. The plan worked very well. Unfortunately, this was a terrible crash. The airplane obviously came in sideways, came in hot, struck the runway early on the threshold, and then rolled and went over the hill.
Was it coming in from, I want to get straight where it was Is it, so it went off to the left? Was it coming in this way, or which way would it be coming in?
It would have been doing an approach over the city of Charleston towards the 5 end, that 5 end of the runway. You line up downtown and then come in that way, or start down in Lincoln County sometimes on approach. So
And it went over towards the interstate. That's what I call it, the interstate side.
it's over towards the Elk River side.
Right. How many feet down do you think it is? Any idea?
It's approximately 150 feet down the hill. You can't really see the aircraft from the runway or from the edge of the runway. There's so much brush in the area, but first responders were able to get down. They rappelled down and located the aircraft, even though you couldn't see it from the top of the hill.
We have notified the West Virginia American Water Company because there is a large amount of avgas or fuel in the area. We don't anticipate it being a problem, but that is part of common sense.
Are you how in the NTSB, you know, they don't want a lot of the place obviously compromised. You can remove, how much can you remove and get the operation of the airport back going before and kind of stay where you need to stay?
Well, they're out there right now doing their evaluation, so there's some small debris on the runway we believe we'll be able to remove later. What's on the side of the runway, we may be able to issue a NOTAM to the pilots and just note them that out, that debris is on the side of the runway, but it wouldn't affect any landings or takeoffs.
Will you be releasing at all the video of this plane coming in from?
No.
Okay. That's what we figured.
And the plane is based here?
Yes, it's based here.
The plane is based here?
Yes,
okay.
yes it is.
Can you describe again how the first responders were able to get to the plane?
Okay, Mayor, so that's...
Sure, they basically came up our haul road that we use to work around here, and ended up going over the area where we placed the field product from that we removed off of Keystone Drive earlier, and went out that way and through the woods basically from the bottom.
It's full of briars. It's very rough.
Can you start over again?
Sure. The area is full of briars. It's very rough. We have crews now with chainsaws. They're going to cut the area out so they can get back in to do some other things. But the first thing to do was to get paramedics on the scene. So we saw to it that the Kanawha County paramedics were there, Charleston firefighter paramedics, and certainly our emergency services department. The idea was to see if we could save a life. And it was very heroic. They went in, really not being able to see where they were. Part of the problem here was not knowing where the actual crash was. We were able to tell where the crash was, frankly, by smelling the fuel.
I apologize if this has already been asked, but do we know if there's fuel leaking into a creek we had heard?
Yes, there has been a fuel loss, but it doesn't appear to be serious. Out of an abundance of precaution, the airport did the right thing and notified the West Virginia American Water Company. They're aware of it, and they're taking all precautions. We do not anticipate any problem with that.
And you were also saying, you know, because it's so wooded, I think there were ATVs going out, rappelling. Can you just talk to us about the tactics used to try and reach?
This just took manpower. This took people going down over the hill. We had several paramedics, and they went in. The idea was to get the medics in and the firefighters to get to the crash to see if someone was alive, if they could help them. That's what they did.
We've also notified the Western DEP to come here to inspect the site and to help us try to maintain the scene as far as any fuel. Our goal is not for any fuel to get into the creek, so we've put out pads, absorbent pads and things of that nature, and booms to try to stop any fuel from getting to any waterway.
We will reopen the airport as soon as we have permission from the federal government. They have to inspect the runway. They have to approve, allow things to either be taken off the scene or photographed. That's entirely up to them. The airport director will do exactly what they tell him to do. The airport's closed and will stay closed until the federal government allows us to open it up. We hope that will be sooner than later.
We've heard it could be as late as Saturday. Have you heard any word?
I don't think that's true, but we don't know that. That's up to them.
Anything else you are wanting to get out there?
Our goal is to try to get the airport back open today, certainly, and hopefully we can get that accomplished for the traveling public.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
We could arrange.
We'll have an update for you guys on 13 News at noon. We're going to be getting more information throughout the morning, so we'll bring you the latest on 13 News at noon with myself, Jack Keane, and Brian Hughes. Okay, have a safe Friday. Hi everyone, Chelsea Spears here, coming to you live from Yeager Airport, where we are dealing with a breaking news scene, a cargo plane that went off the runway and over the hillside right around 7 this morning, near where that rock slide happened just a few years ago. Right now, we are on top of a garage here at the Yeager Airport, where you can see an active scene. I'm going to zoom in so you can see what's happening. We are told this was a cargo plane belonging to Mountaineer Aircraft that went off the runway right around 7 this morning. Now, some of the news we just got was that this was inbound, so it was coming into Yeager Airport from Louisville. We're told that plane departing from Louisville right around 5:40 this morning, getting into Yeager Airport shortly before 7, then running off the roadway and over the hillside. No word right now on the extent of injuries on this case. There's no official word on that. Obviously, no names to pass along to you, but we do know this was a Mountaineer cargo aircraft. About 4 people were believed to be on board this plane at the time of the accident. We have a very active scene here. Ambulances on scene, also law enforcement, deputies, Charleston police officers, state police, all responding here after this plane crashed here at Yeager Airport. I'm asking people to show us the plane. We can't see it from where we're at. So basically what happened, this plane went off the runway right where we're showing you. We can't even see it right now. We believe it's on the hillside. Again, 4 people believed to be on board that plane. No official word on the extent of injuries. I just called the airport PIO. No info on those along those lines. Right now, Yeager Airport is closed while they work to clear this scene. All air traffic is being diverted. We are under a level 3 emergency at this time because of this plane crash, this cargo plane crash. We're told this was a short 330 turboprop that crashed a little earlier this morning. Basically, all assets were called out to the scene to try and help deal with the aftermath of what's going on right now. But you can see still a lot of ambulances here. For those of you that's just now joining us, we are learning this is a Mountaineer cargo aircraft inbound from Louisville. It had departed Louisville right around 5:40 this morning when it arrived here right around 7 this morning, shortly before 7. It went off the runway and over the hillside. 4 people believed on board, all believed to be crew members of some sort. We are under a level 3 emergency. The airport is closed, all air traffic being diverted as they work to get everything here taken care of. So again, there's not a definitive number, but we are led to believe it's around 4 people that were on board this plane at the time of the crash. We at least know some people, several people were on board, but it's believed to be right around 4. No word on the extent of injuries. The airport is closed right now. So this is right around the area where we had that rock slide. Many of you probably remember where we had that rock slide. So this is right in the same area. Again, we're on top of a parking garage here at Yeager Airport. This is the best view we can get of where this plane crashed, but obviously you can't see that plane right now. I'm seeing a lot of people saying prayers. Ginger saying hope they get them out alive. We are going to be continuing to follow their progress, let you guys know how they are doing. Again, 4 people believed to be on board this plane at the time of the crash. We're going to be live on 13 News this morning through at least 9 a.m., maybe longer. So we're going to be making calls. I got to get off here, make some more calls, make sure I'm not missing anything. But we will be bringing you the latest on 13 News, live on air. Okay, have a safe one.
Is everybody ready?
1 second. We're about to get an update now from airport spokesperson Mike Plant, and we have everyone here. Mike, what can you tell us?
I'm sorry to report that there were 2 fatalities on the aircraft, the pilot and the co-pilot. There were no other people aboard. We have confirmed that their status. We're not releasing their names at this time because we want to make sure their families are notified before they hear it.
Earlier that this was a routine flight. Was this a routine pilot and co-pilot?
As far as I know, yeah. But
I'm sorry.
So you've reached them, Mike, right? I mean, obviously.
Yes, yeah. The aircraft has been reached. There were no survivors to the crash. There were 2 souls on board, and that's the that's the parlance on the flight plan is how many souls on board. So, but there were no other passengers. but the crew did not survive the crash.
So at this point, I mean, the plane's still on the hillside. What's next?
Well, the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, will be on site to analyze everything and try to determine exactly what happened here. And that's for any aircraft incident involving damage to an aircraft or certainly fatalities, but any aircraft incident that involves damage to an aircraft, the NTSB is involved in order to, their mission is safety. So they want to figure out if it was a mechanical situation or some other type of situation, so that if that we can learn from what happened and prevent future reoccurrences of that if it's preventable.
Mike, can you recall the last time that there was a crash involving a fatality at Yeager Airport?
Unfortunately, I can. It was I believe last year, a Cessna, I believe a 152 flight school aircraft, flight instructor and a student at basically the same place on the runway there. That was the last time. Before that, it was many years. I think back into maybe the 70s.
And there's been some discrepancy on who owned the plane. Is this an air cargo plane?
Air Cargo Carriers is the owner of the aircraft, I'm told now.
So not Mountain Air?
Not Mountain Air. I apologize for that error earlier.
One more time, I'm sorry?
Air Cargo Carriers, contract aircraft for UPS.
Okay, and when you were telling us about the 2 fatalities, it seemed kind of difficult for you to, report to us. How does this affect you guys?
Well, I myself am a commercial pilot, first of all, so it's and also dealing with an airport and aircraft and on a professional basis. It's a small community, tight-knit community. So whenever you have something like this happen, you're reminded of that aviation, as wonderful it is, can be incredibly unforgiving. So
Mike, are you able to say right now if there was any word as this plane was coming in that anything was wrong?
Not that we're aware of. Not that we're aware of. We've talked to the tower. They've not indicated that there was any other information other than the basics. So I'm reluctant to speculate about things because in the sort of fog of the moment, like we've already had this morning, the misidentified the owner of the aircraft. Information's coming quickly from a variety of sources, and so sometimes you get erroneous information out there. So I was in the ARC, the Airport Response Coordination Center, when we talked to the tower. They gave no indication of anything other than what they knew, which was where it was from, what time it happened, and what type of aircraft it was.
And again, the 2 people were the pilot and co-pilot, correct?
Yes.
So now are you going to have to pull this plane out from the hillside?
Yeah. Well, the NTSB will arrive on the scene to supervise that because they don't want stuff moved and disturbed until they have a chance to look at it, because there's a million different things they want to check, and they don't want anything to be disturbed until they have the opportunity to do that. So it's not blocking the runway, so we'll be able to hopefully get the runway open as soon as possible. But again, our main focus is on that crash site right now, and all the people involved and associated with that. But we also have the airport to reopen, and we'll do that. Everything will be done in a step-by-step methodical basis as described in our emergency plan. And one thing that we're very careful about is to make sure that we're cooperating and assisting at this point. This goes to an investigation site. It was before this it was a recovery operation. Now it's an investigation, and we don't want to do anything that might compromise that investigation, because it's vitally important the NTSB does their work the way that they do it, and this is an important component of what they do. And if you can check online, NTSB publishes after-action reports for every incident and accident out there. And the goal of that, as I said earlier, is to determine what went wrong to the extent they can, so that those kind of things can be avoided.
And any idea when the airport is going, or when people can expect to be back up here and catching flights in and out of Yeager?
Not at this time. I'll have to, after I'm finished here, I'll go downstairs and try to get some determination on that. But you know, the bulk of the wreckage is off the runway already. So you know, I think that I'm hopeful that will be sooner rather than later. But that's, you know, we're going to do what the NTSB tells us to do at this point.
And I apologize if this question's already been answered. But was the plane coming into the airport?
Yeah, the plane was landing at the airport. Yeah.
And here at this airport, do pilots face any other challenges when it comes to flying in here because it is on a hill?
No. You know, if you've landed at LaGuardia Airport or Chicago Midway or Reagan National, you've landed at an airport with a runway of the same size as this one here. So there's a lot of misinformation out there because we're built on a hill. It looks different when you're coming in because it's on top of a hill. The sight picture is different. But the runway in terms of length and width is on par with those, you know, those runways at those major airports. And you know, this is a smaller aircraft. It regularly operates out of here, so there's nothing particularly challenging about Yeager Airport as an airport for a pilot.
Did you identify the type of plane? I'm sorry.
Sure, it's a short 330. Short is the manufacturer, 330 is the model. It's a high-wing, twin-engine, turboprop aircraft, capable of carrying between 15 and 30 people, but it's used mostly for cargo operations, as this one was.
And the plane is about 150 feet over the hill. Is that accurate?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Are you releasing the genders of the pilot and pilot?
Geez, I haven't been asked. I think at this time, no. Yeah, I think that'll be forth. Their names and identities will be forthcoming, but we just we want to make sure that their families are notified in appropriate fashion first.
So right now, the message that other people here in the area need to hear is there's nothing coming in and out of Yeager right now.
That's correct. The runway is closed, as you can see. At this time, the emergency vehicles are still on the runway, and as soon as I have an update from NTSB officials and the maintenance folks, will be putting out that information with regard to when the airport might be expected to be reopened.
Thank you so much.